So here we are at Cosmic Book News with the DCU slate updates, Batman, Avengers Endgame style combination, and more. So, yes, James Gunn let loose because he kept going on about the stories are connected, but they're mostly self-contained and all that. And of course, that's basically the template to follow. Because if you keep being overly dependent on the connection, which is where Marvel finds itself now, it irritates the audience. And of course, quite a few aren't going to have seen all your TV shows and everything. Good Lord, just to understand where you are, which is one of the problems. There were multiple problems for the recent Captain America film. So you got to have them be self-contained. And of course, yes, it can culminate into some big movie. For them, I'm assuming it would be a Justice League movie. And that sort of thing. But the individual superhero movies have to be, for the most part, individual superhero movies. So anyway, James Gunn and Peter Safran did indeed have a DCU press event, and it was held on Friday, I guess last Friday. So anyway, the pair revealed they intend to release 2 live-action movies and 1 animated DC film per year. So that's not going to happen this year, but I mean, they've already had Creature Commando. Was that? I think that was actually on the tail end of last year. So yeah, so that doesn't really count. So Superman will be this year. Supergirl will be released next year, and I'm guessing the Lanterns TV series will be a part of next year as well. But this year, Peacemaker season 2 should come out in the fall of this year. So there you go. At least you have 1 movie and 1 TV series of live action. The plan is also to release 2 live action shows and 2 animated series per max year. So once they get up and rolling, there should be 2. So the Peacemaker this year, next year at some point, I would assume they had the first season of Lanterns. And then their live action shows, their animated ones could join on that. But then that would seem that there's yet another show to release alongside Lanterns for that to play out. So anyway, Gunn has a 6-year plan in place to include an Avengers Endgame style culmination, but wouldn't go into details. Well, yeah, that would be telling. So when they first got together, announced all this, they said they had a 10-year plan. Now he's saying 6-year, but that could be for the narrative that he has in mind for it. But a couple of years have already gone by, but it really hasn't started. It only really starts with Superman. So I don't know, does this mean a shift in ideas or whatnot, or just his tenure in running this thing? Of course, it all hinges. If Superman is a massive flop, this is over. Just over. And they can fall back to Batman movies. Anyway, is Zack Snyder back at DC? Probably the biggest question on fans' mind is whether Zack Snyder is back at DC. Gunn cleared the air regarding that photo. He took a photo of him and Zack together in his office and said that they only did that because they knew it would melt the internet. So no, Zack Snyder is not back at DC. Or is he? Well, he's got quite a few obligations still with Netflix. I think his next project is some sort of police drama that he's developing for them. So there's that. He did mention he would have liked to have done an adaptation of Dark Knight Returns. And who knows, if DCU is successful and is bringing in the cash, there'll be more flexibility on pursuing the Elseworlds aspect. Right now, that's just the Matt Reeves Batman. But should that exist, then yes, this self-contained 1 movie thing, Zack Snyder could come in and do. And really, if that would work, there's a lot of adaptations. They could just do direct adaptations of some of the more classic DC titles. And probably should be their plan anyway. Just scrap this, Marvel copy and do that, But anyway, this is what they're doing. But right now, to have 2 different competing franchises and that sort of thing, no. But for a single film, self-contained and stuff, that's feasible. at some point. There's another thing about Zack Snyder's like VFX company or group, the guys he typically works with, has worked in post-production on James Gunn's Superman. So there is that. So there's a relationship there. They go back years. James Gunn, of course, wrote the script for Dawn of the Dead that began Zack Snyder's film career, really. And of course, that's one of the best all-time zombie movies ever made. And, you know, if James Gunn would write the scripts, Zack Snyder movies would be amazing. Zack Snyder can direct good films. He just can't write them, is the opinion I have at the moment. Visionary, has ideas and stuff, but I mean, Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead. If only James Gunn could have written a script for Army of the Dead, it might have been really cool. So now on to what about Robert Pattinson's Batman in the DCU? Now, no doubt they even admitted this, they considered it. And it started to sound like this might be possible because Matt Reeves himself said, well, it's just a matter of figuring out how to make it work. And that was like, good Lord. And then all the delays and stuff. So it was not unreasonable to suspect something of this. Now they're back to, now we're not doing that. So rumors have offered James Gunn wants Robert Pattinson as the DCU's Batman. Gunn said there was never any serious conversations about bringing Pattinson into the DCU. I bet there was. Gunn said they had talked about everything you can think of, but that doesn't mean there have been serious. It's just splitting hairs here. So as it stands, no. But then one wonders, did they come up with a plan to get Batman up and running as soon as possible? And possibly. And if that's the case, because he keeps teasing about a secret project that he's really excited about, but no one knows what it is and all that sort of thing. Could it be that? I don't know. And one wonders, the Clayface movie, will Batman make a cameo in that, which would be live action? So you would have your new Batman cast and everything. And he had teased that you might see Batman before you get to the Brave and the Bold film. So something of that nature. Update on Matt Reeves' Batman 2. Regarding the Batman #2, Matt Reeves still hasn't turned in the finished script. Gunn and Safran like what they see so far. Filming starts toward the end of the year. Well, if it's going to start the end of this year, then my guess is he has a draft. He just is hammering it out. Better. And another guess I've had is that the Penguin series was so successful that he probably had to rewrite it because you got to emphasize the Penguin, which should have been a no-brainer to begin with, I would have thought. But unless it bombed so badly, they would have abandoned Penguin altogether. But basically, you need a Batman movie with Penguin being, if not the main villain, certainly a big player in that. And that would be fitting. Unfortunately, they weren't ready, so it's going to be a while. Would have been nice to have already got the ball rolling, and sometime early next year the movie could release. But now you got to wait till 2027, and that's coming into really close, where they're going to be two Batman conflicting, and it's, it is Batman, but still. So what about the Penguin season #2? Doesn't sound like it's happening. We don't know, Safran said. There are a lot of moving pieces. Probably most important, Colin himself. Yeah, I'm thinking the movie will finish out the Penguin story. I mean, I don't know that usually they kill off the villains in live action and stuff, so maybe he won't survive it. But odds are he just gets locked up, so they could keep it around possibly. But then I think they move on to a third Batman movie, and that's the end of it. If they want to hurry up and get to their DCU Batman, provided, again, that everything is rolling along successfully and Superman didn't bomb and Supergirl didn't bomb and stuff like that, and they're doing well. So they're pursuing that. Otherwise, they probably put all their eggs in the Batman basket. But then they got to get their new Batman going and all that sort of stuff. So a follow-up series, depending on how well the Batman franchise can do on its own, then maybe another villain gets a series coming out of Batman 2. They might do it something like that. So anyway, Brave and the Bold is still in development. Andy Muschietti is still attached to direct, though it sounds like he's not actively involved with development. Yeah, this is one of those sad things where I don't think he deserves the total blame, even though he's getting the total blame for the failure of the Flash. There was just no way to save that thing, and the movie was jerked around through no fault of his by all the events that happened, not the least of which of its star having a major scandal. Then the whole upheaval with DCEU and being dropped in favor of DCU and so on and so forth, and changing the outcome and the purpose of that movie 3 times over. It was hopeless. And so I guess the punishment is he doesn't get to do Batman. It's looking more likely that's the case. So Gunn is actually developing Brave and the Bold with the writer he didn't want to reveal due to not wanting to put pressure on whoever the writer is. I mentioned the other writers. Anyway, Muschietti will get the script when it's ready. See, that's another thing, is like he had to make do with the Flash and just direct whatever they told him to, and he couldn't cast the character. He did get to cast Supergirl, so he got to do that, but that was it, And then he takes the punishment for his failure. It's like, it's just, man, what a rotten business, The Muschietti, so the movie centers on the Dark Knight and his son, Damian Wayne, as Robin, who is quite the firecracker. Batman is unaware he has a son. So they're going to do it like that. The project is based on Grant Morrison's run of Batman. So I guess that whole story of how he was introduced and everything. So I don't know. Maybe they'll have it where one of the other Robins is still around. I don't know if they'll acknowledge, but the Robin story with Batman is too cluttered. Really, probably if you got to have Damian Wayne, to just say Dick Grayson was Robin and he's an adult now, and then he discovers he had a son, and that's your second Robin. Of course, that eliminates Red Hood and all that sort of stuff with Jason Todd. But my God, it's a lot of years, and it really doesn't work in the comics, and it certainly wouldn't be all that credible in live action. So you got to make a choice, Superman is in post-production, of course. Gunn heads back to Atlanta for additional work. Won't be at Comic-Con this summer. Well, yeah, he's got to make that thing work. Supergirl, halfway through production already. Lanterns in production, will premiere in early 2026. Clayface, Gunn again confirmed it's DCU. James Watkins in talks to direct films this summer. Boy, they're really fast-tracking that one. But then again, it's supposed to be mostly like a horror film, so it might be on the cheap, so it'd be easier for them to do. But man, they're only in talks with James Watkins, so again, pretty fast. Sergeant Rock Sanford said they never met with Daniel Craig. Search is underway for an actor to star in the movie. I think the story was that it was brought to his attention, but it was never any kind of serious negotiations or whatnot. Swamp Thing sounds like it's placed on the back burner as James Mangold is busy with other projects. Apparently a Star Wars film. Yeah, we'll see. The Authority also sounds like it's not happening, and it's probably for the best. The problem is they painted themselves in that corner because the engineer appears in Superman. Unless they're cutting that part out. I don't know. But I've always been against the idea of the Authority being a DC project. It has not worked in the comics. It worked by itself as a Wildstorm project. And just that could be an Elseworlds movie if you wanted to do a movie on that. But it's never worked as a DC property. They recently did a series of Superman and the Authority. It's just not. The real Authority is not a team that Superman would ever want anything to do with. He would always see them as villains. And for the most part, he'd be right. Teen Titans. So confirmed, this was always a rumor previously, but that the Supergirl writer, Anna Noguera, has written a script, but she's still working on it. So there's a draft, still got to hammer some things out. And depending on where they're going to go, is this Nightwing leading the team, or is this going to be Damian Wayne and some younger versions of the characters? I don't know. And if it's still called Teen Titans, then, well, how old is Dick Grayson at this point? You know. So another one that was rumored, they only confirmed that Matthew Orton is writing a script, but wouldn't say it's for a Bane Deathstroke movie. But what else could it be? This is another one of those, whether Clayface would have a cameo with Batman in it, but then again, maybe it's the Bane Deathstroke movie where that's where you first get to see their new Batman. Batman. DCU TV Peacemaker Season 2 will happen this August. Booster Gold, they had a showrunner, but he bailed, and now Booster Gold is moving forward with somebody else. Now, that's another property that James Gunn could probably do well with. There's a lot of elements that would be similar to, Guardians of the Galaxy and that sort of thing. But this is another one that might just get scrapped if they can't find someone to take it on. But it's also a show which could go on, if they want to bother with that, to explain things somewhat, if they want to, since The Flash didn't really do that. About some elements of the old, like basically Peacemaker continues, but everything else doesn't. So I don't know. Waller sounds like it might happen, as Gunn admitted Waller has been a bumpy road and they are struggling to find the right script. Just fold it into Peacemaker. Why not? And I don't know, depending on how well Peacemaker Season 2 goes, then there might be a Season 3 and Waller could come back and be a part of that. Paradise Lost still in development. I would just assume they scrap that and start working on developing Wonder Woman. Not this, it's Game of Thrones on Paradise Island. It just doesn't sound good to me at all. Blue Beetle animated series should be greenlit soon, follows what happened in the movie. And, it's got a shot. I like the Blue Beetle movie, but no one saw it. It's unfortunate. Now, these other cartoons I have no interest in. 3 new animated series aimed at kids. So they're, going to be silly kid stuff. And that's, they got to have room for that. But I suspect none of these will be connected to the overall DCU, which they said they would do with animated projects alongside live action and that sort of thing. But in this case, probably won't. So My Adventures with Green Lantern follows Jessica Cruz, who has her life upended when a Green Lantern power ring falls from the sky and chooses Cruz to be its champion. Things get even worse when more debris from the Lantern's ancient space war arrives, along with their alien foes. Jake White is executive producing, and Stephanie Gonzaga is whatever. Anyway, update. White confirmed on social media, My Adventures with Green Lantern is set in the same timeline as My Adventures with Superman. Oh, so there you go. This will not be in the same universe as DCU. Well, with the title, My Adventures, it stands to reason that it would look like. So it's probably going to look very similar to it in that anime style. So aimed at kids, but I'm assuming this, because the Superman was kind of like a teenager age, I guess. I didn't hate My Adventures with Superman. It really wasn't for me, but I can't say it was a horrible or anything like that. So, I don't know, but, probably okay for your kids to watch or whatever. Superpowers, which was a title given to a toy line in the 80s. The series wasn't all that, but it was competing with Marvel's Secret Wars. But, of course, the Secret Wars comic book was actually really excellent. But really, Crisis on Infinite Earths was the one that competed with that story-wise. Superpowers was just, they threw some characters together and said, hey, look, you can get these action figures based on this, and that's what they did. So I guess reclaiming the title. But then will it be like that where you just have basically a redone Super Friends and they battle the Legion of Doom and Darkseid and stuff? Oh, no. DC Superpowers takes place at the Alliance School for Heroes and focuses on new students, Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, Aquagirl, Green Lantern, and Terra, who level up their powers under the supervision of Principal Martian Manhunter. It's like Saved by the Bell with superpowers, in the hopes of one day graduating and becoming the next generation of Earth's defenders. Matt Beans. is executive producing, and Michael Chang is the supervising producer. Yeah. Well, that's crap on arrival. So no, thank you. So finally, although there's supposed to be a dynamic duo series, I don't see it listed here. Batman and Robin. Again, I don't think any of these are supposed to fit into the DCU continuity. One should hope not. So Starfire serves as the origin story. The show follows her adventures after she uses an ancient spaceship she discovers on her home planet of Tamarin to escape her planet and explore the stars. Along the way, she'll meet space biker Crush, plant-loving Fern, and the magical Princess Amethyst of Gem World. And together they will uncover the deepest reaches of the DC universe, save space dolphins, surf technicolor nebulas, and boldly soar into the unknown. Yeah, this is crap too. No real interest. It's just girls' night out and viz, and that's about it. I don't know. It might not be as bad as Superpower sounds, but it's pretty close. So basically, maybe Green Lantern with Jessica Cruz. But, for me, nah. So anyway, there we go. That's the new updated list. Authority looks to be in trouble. Swamp Thing may never happen. It is unfortunate. Teen Titans might be. Bane and Deathstroke. I don't know. Clayface, definitely. Lanterns are already underway. Supergirl underway. And so that's what you can expect. And, of course, Superman later this year. So you're all caught up. That's what you have to look forward to.